Good afternoon, and thank you for being here today. I'm Stephanie Avakian, and together with Stephen Pekin, we are co-directors of the Securities and Exchange Commission's Division of Enforcement. Today, the SEC filed securities fraud charges against Elon Musk, the chairman and CEO of Tesla Motors, stemming from his August 7, 2018 statements disseminated over Twitter that he was considering taking Tesla private. Musk's statements misled members of the investing public to believe that it was virtually certain he could take Tesla private at a price of $420 per share, which was a substantial premium over its share price at that time, because funding for this proposed transaction had been secured, and the only contingency remaining was a shareholder vote. The market reacted to this information, and Tesla's stock price quickly traded up. We allege that Musk's statements were false and misleading because they lacked any basis in fact. At the time he made these statements, Musk had not secured funding for the proposed transaction. To the contrary, we allege that he had not even discussed key deal terms, including price, with any potential source of funding. The SEC's complaint, which was filed earlier today in Federal District Court in the Southern District of New York, seeks a finding that Musk committed securities fraud, an injunction prohibiting him from doing so in the future, civil penalties, disgorgement of any ill-gotten gains, and a bar prohibiting Musk from serving as an officer or director of a public company in the future.
Let me turn now to the allegations in the SEC's complaint. The SEC alleges that on August 7, 2018, at approximately 12:48 p.m. Eastern Time, in the midst of market hours, Musk published a tweet to his 22 million Twitter followers in which he stated, "Am considering taking Tesla private at $420, funding secured." Over the next few hours, Musk made additional statements through Twitter about the proposed going private transaction. A selection of those statements is in the complaint, and among other things, Musk stated that he would ensure the prosperity of existing shareholders, that he hoped all current shareholders would remain with Tesla even if it were private, and that he would create a special purpose fund for that purpose, that no Tesla investors would be forced to sell their shares, that a private Tesla would, in his words, be smoother and less disruptive because there would no longer be what he termed negative propaganda from short sellers. And finally, that investor support is confirmed, and the only reason why this is not certain is that it's contingent on a shareholder vote. These misleading statements, none of which were pre-cleared or reviewed by anyone at Tesla, caused significant market confusion and disruption. Within minutes of the first tweet, Tesla's own head of investor relations questioned whether the communication was even legitimate. Investors and journalists contacted Tesla and asked whether the tweet was a joke. And NASDAQ, which requires its members to give the exchange advance notice of market-moving information, but had received no advance notice of the announcement, suspended trading for more than 90 minutes following the tweet. The response of Tesla's investor relations department is further evidence of the extent of confusion caused by Musk's conduct. As alleged in our complaint, over the course of the day on August 7th, Tesla's investor relations personnel took Musk's statements at face value, reassuring analysts that funding had in fact been secured for the transaction. The investor relations department told analysts that there was, quote, firm offer, and that, quote, the offer is as firm as it gets. Predictably, as seen on the trading charts on the boards next to me, Musk's tweets significantly impacted both the price and volume of trading in Tesla stock. At the end of the trading day on August 7th, Tesla stock closed at $379 per share, up more than 6% from its price just prior to the initial tweet. According to the complaint, Musk's tweets were false and misleading. For example, his tweets that funding was secured and that investor support is confirmed were simply not true. He had neither secured a commitment from any source to provide funding for a transaction, nor confirmed investor support. In fact, while leading Tesla's investors to believe that he had a firm offer in hand, we alleged that Musk had arrived at the price of $420 by assuming a 20% premium over Tesla's then existing share price, and then rounding up to $420 because of the significance of that number in marijuana culture and his belief that his girlfriend would be amused by it. Similarly, Musk's claim that the only reason why this is not certain is that it's contingent on a shareholder vote was also false and misleading. Among other things, a going private transaction would have required Tesla's board to approve a formal proposal, but as alleged in our complaint, no proposal had even been presented to the board. Musk also created the false impression that the terms of the transaction had been settled when, as we allege, they had not even been explored. For example, Musk tweeted that current retail shareholders would have the option of continuing to hold their shares, even though he had been told before he published the tweets that it would be very difficult for retail investors to remain invested in Tesla if it were private. And in fact, as he later admitted, there was no way for small shareholders to retain their position in Tesla if it had gone private. Nor had Musk investigated whether this transaction, purportedly to be financed by a foreign sovereign wealth fund, would require regulatory approvals or be able to obtain them. Despite all of these unknowns and uncertainties, Musk's tweets and blog posts misled investors into believing that it was virtually certain that he could take Tesla private at a substantial premium over its then existing share price, subject only to the contingency of a shareholder vote.
This case demonstrates our commitment to holding individuals accountable for violations of the federal securities laws. A chairman and CEO of a public company has important responsibilities to shareholders. Those responsibilities include the need to be scrupulous and careful about the truth and accuracy of statements made to the investing public, whether those statements are made in a traditional form such as a press release or an earnings call, or through less formal methods such as Twitter or other social media. And as we have said before in connection with other matters, neither celebrity status nor a reputation as a technological innovator provide an exemption from the federal securities laws. Finally, let us introduce and thank the SEC team that has worked tirelessly over the last 2 months on this case. They are Walker Newell, Brent Smith, Barrett Atwood, Steve Buchholz, Aaron Schneider, Gina Choi, and Cheryl Crumpton. We are happy to take a couple of questions now, but please do bear in mind that because this matter is now in litigation, we are limited about what we can say. Thank you.
Yes.
Stephanie Dew with CNBC. Should Elon Musk be able to remain as CEO while this is adjudicated?
Pending a final judgment and a determination by the court, he would remain in his position unless he or the company made a different decision. Yes?
Ben Bain with Bloomberg News. Can you talk a little bit about why you've moved so quickly in this case? It seems like it's quicker than similar cases would normally be. And also, how serious are you about barring him from serving as a director or executive?
Ben, with respect to the speed, as I've said and Stephanie has said before, we believe our actions have the most impact when they're brought most closely in time to the events that bring them forth. We conducted a swift investigation here. The investigation was complete, and it was time to make a charging decision, and we made one.
Yeah, hi, Peter Schrader with Reuters. Does this activity preclude any other additional charges against Mr. Musk or Tesla as the company?
I think we're not going to comment beyond what's in the complaint that we brought today.
Last question, if there is one.
Thanks. In the complaint, you specifically say that his actions showed that he would do this again. Can you explain that a little bit? What transpired that made you think he would do this again, and do you think that's been mitigated?
Yeah, I don't think we can comment beyond the allegations that are in the complaint.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.